In today's tutorial, let's learn how to do the floral cami, and these are amazing. It took me about 4 hours to do my version, and basically I'm going to be using Caron Simply Soft today. It's the ombres line, and basically this one that you see on this side here is ombre, and the other one on the other side is Peyton's metallic. They both have a very different look to it in the way that they're shaping, but that's because the yarn is different. So you can decide whatever you would like to use for this. The ombres I think are the most appealing, I think, of the two when it comes to the crocheters. So without further ado, let's get started now. Welcome back to the Crochet Crowd as well as yarnspirations.com. I'm your host Mikey. Today we're working on the floral cami together, and let's just go over a few things before we get started in today's tutorial. When you're looking at this particular pattern, when it's not on you or even on a dummy just like so, or a mannequin should say, this is just a regular rectangular shape project. So there's no increasing when it comes to getting to the bust sizes over here. The meshing, because it's hexagonal meshing that we're going to be working with today, it wants to shape properly to the woman's figure. So it makes it very easy. So the front and the back panel is exactly the same, and what I decided to do is that there's a ribbon that they claim to put down the side here. I just whip stitched it together. You can either go for the ribbon look as it says in the pattern, or you can just whip stitch it together. Now you'll notice, see how there's a gap here in the bottom section right here, is that you don't attach anything, you just let it be, so that it has kind of a wavy kind of a nice beautiful drape when it comes to the bottom. Both are done like so. So what we have here, this is the ombres look for Caron Simply Soft. This is metallic. They both have a very different kind of feel to it. You know, they can both look very different. You can dress it up, be dressy, or you can just be very casual with a nice pair of jeans. So today what we're going to do is that I'm going to go through the anatomy of this particular pattern. We don't do women's clothing too much, but because this one is so simple and I can teach it, I think that we can get many of you off to a great start. So before we go any further, you should know that the pattern on yarnspirations.com only provides this pattern up to a size large. But don't freak out. On the crochetcrowd.com I have figured out this pattern all the way to 5 extra large, and I've also given tips on how to be able to customize this in order to make it fit to your shape, because we're not all the same size. So we actually have one person that wanted extra small, and so she figured it out, and basically it's all within the secret of the mesh. And so basically the meshing basically is just a matter of changing some stitches right up the beginning, and if you keep the stitch count in multiples the same as what the mesh is, the base is gonna just naturally want to just work itself out, so it'll add more extra fans and feathers down at the bottom when you're making it wider if you need to. What you're seeing on this mannequin is a size small, and I did mine, and I'm a bit of a loose crocheter, so mine looks a little bit different, but my meshing was a little bit longer than the original that you see here. So basically you can alter this. You can make this into a beach cover up by just changing the amount of mesh that you want before you start the base, and again, that's a personal creativity thing. That's up to you. Okay, so now let's go over what you're going to learn in today's tutorial. So we're not going to do the whole floral cami on camera with you. I'm going to show you the sections on how to do them, and then you're going to do the rest on your own. So what we're going to do is that when we start this project, as per the directions, is that we're going to be starting, and this is the starting chain down here, and we're going to work our way up to the bust area just like so. Now it says for some of it to go 10 inches I believe. You can read that in the more information, and we'll cover that as well. Is that when it's 10 inches, it's not 10 inches stretched like this. It's actually 10 inches just kind of lying nice and flat on a table, but without major stretching. So what you're seeing here is that even though this was done at 10 inches, when it's hanging and draping on your body, it will go even further. So this is 14 inches, so it gained another 4 inches by doing the stretch when it goes down. So you have to put some trust into that, and again, if you want your meshing to be bigger, go more than 10, and basically that's up to you. The next part of the tutorial, we're going to cover just the top piece. We just have to go around once in order to make this extra loop that's provided for the straps, just like you see here. And then what we're going to do then is we're going to start with the fans and feathers, which is a little more detail, but you will notice that it's a repeat pattern. So I'm going to cover what it takes in order to do one repeat, and then you can do the remainder. I have seen crocheters do this pattern, and there's more fans and feathers that they've added to have it even longer, including into a mini skirt or a kind of concept, or even a dress. So without further ado, let's grab our yarn. We're using a 5mm size H crochet hook today. I am going to be using the Caron Simply Soft Ombres within the blue, and I think it's going to be amazing. So let's work on part one, and we're going to start our mesh, and the mesh again starts at the base and we're going to work our way up. In today's tutorial I'm only going to just show you a few rows of the mesh here, and then I'm going to immediately jump into the top here just to show you, and then I'm going to show you down here, and then we'll just cover a quick of the straps. It's actually very easy. So within today's pattern the stitch count is in multiples of 12. So if you want to change any of the sizing that you want with your particular cami, it's always in 12. So on the crochetcrowd.com I've written an article. So if you're up to 5 extra large, I tell you what those counts are. But for today's reasons I'm going to just show you the small version, because the rest of it is just a matter of changing your stitch counts in order to make it customized for you. So let's begin. I have a slip knot on here. Remember that this never counts as one, and I'm going to do the small size with you on camera. Again, adjust your pattern if you need to make it any bigger than a large. So we just have to just chain. So we have to chain 82 for the small size, 94 for medium, and then 106 for large. So let's start. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Go all the way to the size that you want. Go in the crochetcrowd.com if you need the larger size dimensions, and then just use that for your starting chain. For me, I'm just gonna go to 82. So now that I have my chain complete, as per the directions, is that I want to do the hexagonal mesh exactly the same. So the next part of this tutorial, there's a difference, and that's because there's a difference in the number of spaces that you're left with when you have different sizes, but the stitch work across is the same. So what we're going to do then is that we're going to skip to the 10th stitch or 10th chain. What I want you to do is count back to 10. So starting at the first one, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. Now that I have 10, I want to turn that over, and I want to double crochet into the back loop of that chain. It makes for a nicer, cleaner edge, especially when it's exposed at the base of your particular cami, and I want you to double crochet. So you end up with this massive loop at the beginning. We are doing a hexagonal mesh, so you just have to bear with me. So now that the hard part is done, we're going to start off by chaining 4. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. We come back down to the chain and immediately advance 1, 2, 3 and go to the 4th over and double crochet. We're gonna do the entire chain this way. This is as hard as it gets. Okay, so again we're gonna chain 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4, and we're gonna come back down into the chain. So 1, 2, 3, go to the 4th and double crochet. Please do that all the way across this chain. So now coming all the way back to the other side, and I have to chain my 4. So 1, 2, 3 and 4, and I'm going to double crochet, and it should be the very last one, and you can see I'm skipping 3 going to the 4th. So if your counts are right when you do your first chain, you'll end up with the right count at the very end of this. And basically it kinda looks like a Jacob's or a ladder at this time. I saw a Jacob's ladder pattern this morning, so that's in my brain. So but it looks like basically a ladder at this point, and you're going to see it start to compress in a bit, because as much as it appears like a rectangles right now, it's going to appear as a hexagon in the rows ahead. So let's begin the next row. So let's turn our work, and we're going to start off with row 2. Now row 2 has confused me the most when I did it the very first time, because we are doing a hexagonal mesh. You have to put trust in this pattern for this particular element, because what we're seeing right now is that it's all into rectangles, but it's gonna turn into a hexagonal in just a moment. But it's a matter of just visualizing it to make that work. So let's go through the instructions. It says to chain 8, which counts as a double crochet, and chain 4. So let's just chain 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and then 5, 6, 7 and 8. And what we want to do is that we want to double crochet into the same chain 4 space. Okay, so it's the same. So double crochet, and we do this every time we go to start a new row. Okay, so we chain 8 going into the very first one. Okay, and now we're just gonna follow exactly what we did in the row below. So we're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4, and then double crochet into the next chain 4 space. So what this is by doing that chaining of 8 in the very beginning, it shifts it over so that you can actually have the hexagonal look. Now you can't technically see it yet, you will see it in row number 3. So what I want you to do is just double crochet or chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, double crochet into the next space. Okay, and you want to do that all the way across. So 1, 2, 3 and 4, double crochet in the next space. And I'll meet you back at the end of this row and I'll show you what to do, because how you finish is important in order to keep this within balance. So I'm coming up close to the end of the row. So whenever we finish the row in meshing, it's always the same regardless on what row it's on. So I still have to chain 4 again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, double crochet into the next chain. Oops, so maybe I should wrap my hook first for a double crochet. Okay, so basically we have one more space left. So how you finish this row is 1, 2, 3, 4, and then just double crochet into the same space. And you stop. This is where exactly you stop. So the very first time I ever did this, I'm like, God, that doesn't seem right, because it seems like I have all this extra space here, and you have to put trust in the pattern. This is a hexagonal pattern. So because I have it over here and I have the extra that has been put right into the very beginning, like you see there, is that I was getting confused. So I did it on the other side because I thought the pattern was wrong, and then it turns out if I do what I did on the other side, I'm gonna end up with a really weird shape and not an actual rectangle that I need in order for this. So let's turn our work and begin our next row. So let's begin our next row, and the next row is always going to be the same. So what we just did in the last row is exactly what we're gonna do in this row. So we chain 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. We come into the same space and we double crochet. So do you see that? So now what I thought last time when I was screwing up is that what happens is that the hexagonal is now starting to appear. Let me go a little further. So we're gonna chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Go to the next chain 4 space and double crochet. And I'm gonna do it one more time just to give more to look at. So 1, 2, 3, 4, next chain 4 space. So you can see how fast the meshing is gonna work for you. So basically you can now see the hexagonal is starting to appear. Let me just put down my hook. Okay, so do you see that? This is a hexagonal shape now, and when it's on your body and draped, it'll actually appear like honeycomb. Okay, so you see that it's kind of pulling up in the middle. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense to you. So all you're just gonna do is that you're just gonna carry on down the row just like you did in the last row. So 1, 2, 3, 4, chain double crochet in the next chain 4 space, and continue that. So what you want to do when you're doing this mesh is that you want to get this to about 10 inches. Depends on the size that you're looking for. So it's 9 inches for small, medium, and it's 10 inches. So when you're lying this down, just lie it down and look. Don't go, okay, that's 10 inches, because basically when it's on your body it's gonna fall naturally, which is gonna provide the right length for you. So just lay it down and just look at it and grab your tape measure and measure out your 9 to 10 inches. I have actually figured it out for other sizes if you wish. Again, if you want this mesh to be longer, you can do so, as long as you keep the rows going exactly what you see here. It won't matter, so you can end up with a really nice beach cover up if you wanted to. It's all up to you. So if you want a longer mesh, just make it a little bit longer. If you want it shorter, obviously make it shorter as well. So carry on, and what I'm gonna do is when we come back, I'm gonna be at the end of this row, and then I'm gonna show you how to do the top edge, and it's only one row across in order to establish a nice thicker edge, but also how to establish the what do you call that, the straps of your particular cami. So the straps that go over your shoulders. So I'm just coming up at the end of the row. I'm just gonna review it one more time. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then basically you're gonna take this mesh and you're gonna continue to crochet until you get to the size mesh that you want. 2, 3, 4, and then you want to finish the rows exactly the same as every time. It's the starting the same as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I got 2 more mesh spaces left. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, and 4 go into the last space that you see, like so. So you can kind of start really seeing it come together just like so. So what I'm gonna do now is that you're going to finish the rest of the mesh on your own, just like I just showed you, and I'm going to start then doing the strap, and I'm gonna use this example, so I'm only gonna do a small sample in order to show you how to do the next part. So we're gonna do the top edging next. It's called the upper edging in the pattern. So we're coming back to the pattern, and we're right here now. You've done the row 2, and you're gonna repeat it until you get to the sizes that you want it to. Now the upper edging, what we're going to do is that it's only one row across, and we're just gonna work with it. So the only difference is that depending on what size that you're working with, so we're still working with a small, so therefore this number 3 is our number, or it could be a medium or large, and then I have sizes in my website if you want to do other sizes to this. But I'm gonna show you a trick today. I'm gonna show you this, and then I'm gonna show you a trick just in case something went wrong on your pattern, that how to look at it from a point where you just want to repeat what you've done on the other side. So even if you want to lose count, you can almost do that as long as you know what to look for if you're doing so. How does that make sense? So let's begin to do that next. So let's begin the upper edging together, and we're just gonna start off. So we're gonna immediately chain 1 and single crochet back into the top of the first double crochet, and then what we're gonna do is put 3 single crochets right around this chain 4 space. Chain 4. So we're just gonna single crochet 3 times. So 1, 2 and 3. So now here is the repeat pattern. You can see in the brackets it says single crochet in the next double crochet, like so, and then 3 single crochets into the next, and we have to do this 3 times. So this is considered 1 of 3. Okay, so let's double crochet into the next single crochet. So this will be number 2. So then let's single crochet 3 more times into the next, and then finally we have to do it 1 more time. So single crochet in the next double crochet, and this is the 3rd time, and this is a single crochet 3 times here. So that whole 3 times was depending on the size. So mine was a size small, so yours could be like repeat 4 times, 5 times, and it depends on the size if you're following along. So right now we're gonna stop because the repeat pattern stops here, and now we pick up to what we need to do, and we're gonna start applying the strap section next. So I decided to bring the sample back out. So what we've done here is that we're coming along the side here, and we're putting in our single crochets in the top. The next section, what we're going to do is that we're going to chain 2 and then double crochet into the next chain 4 section here. We're gonna create this chain 4 here, and then come back down into this section, and then again resume the single crochets along in. So basically this particular row here is making this particular strap whole, just like you see here. This is just simple chaining and then single crocheting along the chain for the strap, which we'll cover at the end of this tutorial. So let's begin the strap hole. So we've stopped when we got our 3 single crochets in. We're immediately going to chain 2, 1 and 2, and we're going to double crochet into this chain 4 space here, the next one, and then we're going to chain 4. So 1, 2, 3 and 4, and we're going to double crochet into the next chain 4 space, just like so. So now we're going to chain 2, 1 and 2, and we're going to, it says to resume repeating what is in the brackets. So if we do that, we basically start off with a single crochet in the double crochet here, and then we put in 3 single crochets into the next chain space is right here. So on the instructions it says to repeat this exactly for a total of 7, 8 or 9 times, and basically on my website has the other information if you want to do other sizes. So you're putting 3 single crochets and then 1 single crochet into the double crochet, and we keep repeating that all the way across. So I have a problem with sometimes I forget how many that I've counted as I'm going all the way across, and so what I like to do is that I like to look at the other side of the pattern. So let me just finish these 3 single crochets first, and basically I look at it and say, where did this go? Where did this chain 4 go that is making the strap? And what I'm doing is I'm counting the number of gaps that I can see. So I can see that I have 1, 2, 3, 4 to the end. So what I wanted to do is that even if I lose count, I'm going to put the strap exactly where I see it on the other side, matching the amount of holes that I can see. Okay, so you can either count it over like it's suggesting, or you can just look at the other side. So if you really wanted to change the location of your straps, you can just follow this instructions, maybe move it over back 1, or you can move it into the middle more, but as long as you do it the same on both sides, it'll always be in balance, and both sides meaning left and right, and also on the other panel that you're going to make for this as well. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna advance, just keep on going across. It won't take much time at all, and again it's just single crochet into the double crochet and then 3 into the next. You're going to notice that this is gonna pull tight, tighter than what you've seen before. The reason for it is that this chaining is a chain 4 space, but you're only putting in 3 single crochets, and then you're putting in a single crochet in the double. Because there's 1 stitch missing, because it's a chain 4 space and you're only doing 3 single crochets, it makes the top edge tighter, and we don't mind that because you want a good shape when it's on your body. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm going to just do my little measurement, what I did on the other side. So I'm gonna look at it and say, okay, I've got 4 gaps, and then it transitioned into this strap. So what I want to do is I want to look at this side and say, where do I need to stop? So basically I got 1, 2, 3, 4. So basically in order to do this I'm gonna have to get to here. Okay, so I only have 2 more to get to in order to do it. So I could have counted it, but I'm just ironing it out in order to kind of satisfy my own. You know, I get worried that I don't ever do it the same on both sides. So okay, so I got 1 more to do according to my dimensions, or according to my visual. So we're gonna do the last one here, and we're just gonna single crochet 3 times and then stop, and then we're going to apply the strap. So you gotta remember that the strap goes over a few of the boxes. So even though I have 4 spaces here, the strap, see this one is gonna go over, the strap is over this section, and then I have to lead it into here. So let me just do that. So in order to do a strap is chaining 2, 1 and 2, and then double crochet into the next chain 4 space, chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, double crochet into the next chain 4 space, and then chain 2, 1 and 2, and then it says to resume back to what we had started with. So we just immediately single crochet into the next, double crochet, and then single crochet 3 times around the next gapping spaces. So according to my visual, that I should have the strap in the same section to what I had. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it jumps up for 5. It's over the 6. So let me take a look at this side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, it jumps up in the 5. It's going up over the 6, just like this. So basically I'm actually satisfied with my particular that I got it the same on both sides in order to make it work. So let's continue all the way to the end. Okay, so it's 3 single crochets into each, chain 3. I'm hopefully gonna make sense. Sometimes it's just easier just to kind of eye it out than it is to technically count, because it's easy to get the counts wrong, but if you visualize it, it's sometimes easier. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, here's the last one, single crochet, and 1, 2 and 3, and I just want to quickly look back on my instructions to see what I do next, because I'm not sure if I just stop or whether I go into a stitch. Hang on. So I just quickly reviewed. I did get my 3 in here. That is correct. So what I want to do then is fasten this off. So we want to cut our yarn, and then the top section is done. And so basically it's just gonna wait for a strap, but the strap is the last thing to do on this particular pattern. So even after you get both panels done, you have to then do your straps at the end. So this is kind of what it looks like at this point. The top one has its straps just like there. Okay, so that makes sense. Your mesh will be a lot bigger, but what we're going to do next is that we're going to turn this around, and this is the bottom starting here. We're going to turn it around, and we're going to start working on doing the base fans and feathers. So basically the top is now facing down, the top of the outfit is facing down, and so now we're on the bottom of that, and we're going to start the fans and feathers next. So here's what it's gonna look like at this point. You're gonna have all this meshing done, and basically we're gonna start the fans and feathers. It consists of 3 repeat patterns that we're going to do with this. So I'm gonna show you how to do one, and then show you how to get started with the next, and leave you to do the rest. Basically you're going to be doing this before it's attached to the actual back panel, so that you're going to do both panels the same. And basically because I have had you do the counts properly when you started this, the amount of fans and feathers will always be in balance so that it will match each other. So basically for every size that it goes up, it'll add an additional fans and feathers to the concept. So for example, on this one here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So on the medium there will be 7 fans and feathers. On on the large there will be 8, and etc., going all the way higher. So because we have the right mesh counts here, these will be in balance so that it can work out. So we're gonna go back and forth doing the fans and feathers next. So let's begin the base fans and feathers area, and we're gonna start off with a slip knot. Let's grab our hook, insert, and we're going to go into the very first mesh space just like so and attach it. So just go in, just put both around the hook and pull through to secure both. And what you need to do then is that you need to chain 6. What I like to do is just put both stragglers and the yarn through for a couple. So this is 1 and then 2, and then that's basically really secured, and then 3, 4, 5 and 6. Okay, this row is really easy. We're just going to single crochet into the next chain 4 space and then chain 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, come back into the next one over here and single crochet. Okay, so last time we were doing the mesh work we were double crocheting. This time it's just single crochet. So 1, 2, 3 and 4 and single crochet into the next. Continue to do that all the way across, and I'll show you what to do at the end. So I'm coming up all the way close to the end. So 1, 2, 3, 4, okay, into the next space for a single crochet. This is the final space that's left. It's 1, 2, 3 and 4, and just simply single crochet into that same space. So that is row number 1. So now we're just gonna turn our work and move up to row number 2. Let's start on row number 2, and we're gonna start off by chaining 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. And what we're going to do at this point is that we're going to single crochet into the very first chain 4 space. So this is a very easy one. This round, the whole rounds are easy, or rows are easy I should say. So what we're going to do now is in the next chain 4 space we're gonna put 8 double crochets in there. So we're gonna do 1, 2, 3, that's 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. And then once you have your 8 done, all you're just gonna do is that you're going to single crochet into the next chain 4 space. Now what you're going to do is that you're going to chain 4. So 1, 2, 3 and 4, and we're gonna go into the next chain 4 space. And then what you're going to do is then 8 double crochets into the next chain 4 space, and I'll explain this in just a moment. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. So what you have at this point here is that you have 8 double crochet, you have a chain 4 space that separates them, and then 8 double crochets. So the single crochets kind of stabilize it in there. Because the fans and feathers get bigger, if they're too close together then they're gonna overlap and not hang properly. So now that we have this 8 done, we simply single crochet into the next chain 4 space. We chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, single crochet into the next chain 4 space, and then we do 8 more double crochets into the next chain 4 space. So 1, 2, 3, it's 4, it's 5, 6, 7 and 8. Continue to do that same trend all the way across. So single crochet to the next one, chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, okay, single crochet into the next chain 4 space, and then start your 8 double crochets into the next, and continue that all the way across, and I'll meet you at the end and I'll show you what to do next. So I'm coming up near the end. I've just finished a chain 4 space here, or chain 4, and now I'm going to 8 double crochets in the next chain 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So once you have that done, you're going to single crochet into this final one just like this, the final, and then you're going to chain 5, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then single crochet back into that same chain space. Once again, you need to do that in order to keep this pattern consistent, and that's how you would finish row number 2. So let's turn our work and do row number 3. So row number 3, we're going to start doing picots within this. So let's begin, and we're going to start off by chaining 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and we're going to single crochet back into this chain 5 space that we had in the last row. So single crochet there first, and what we're going to do is that we're going to do the double crochet picots for the first 7, but not for all 8 that are here. So because we have 8 here, we only do the first 7, and it makes sense when you visually see it at the end. So how we start is that we just immediately go into a double crochet into the very first one of the 8. Okay, do you see it there? So just go into the very first one and double crochet as normal. So 1, 2, there you go. And then we want to do a picot. So to do a picot, we chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then what we want to do is slide the hook in behind the stitching just like there, and pull through and through, and that creates a picot. It's like a little nub. So let's show that again. So we're gonna do the next one of the 8. So just double crochet. Okay, and then once you have that done, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then slide your hook in behind, yarn over and pull through and through, and then do the next double crochet. Okay, so this makes the stitch work open up a little bit to create the fans and feathers look. So 1, 2, 3 for the picot, slide in behind. So the first 7 of the 8 are going to all be double crochet picots, and then the final 8 is just a regular double crochet. Okay, so I'm working my way across that fan, and doing the picots takes a little bit of getting used to if you've never done it before, or even if you haven't done it in a while. It's just a matter of getting used to what you need to do, and it's all about not being too tight in your stitches in order to be able to slide your hook in behind in order to do it, and you end up with a beautiful edging just like this. So what I just do is that I look at the stitches, and I don't count as they go, but I just see that there's only one left, so that means that I'm not gonna do a picot on that one because that's the 8th one. So we're only gonna picot for the first 7, and then we're just gonna double crochet into the final one as normal. And then what we have to do in this chain 4 space, we just single crochet, and then we start all over again and do another picot double crochet or double crochet picots for the first 7. So let's review one more time. So we're gonna just immediately come to the very first one, double crochet, and then picot 1, 2, 3. Okay, and I'm just gonna speed up a little bit. So double crochet, picot. So it takes a little bit longer to get across when you're doing the picots, but the visual look of it is amazing, and it's really what sets us apart from just being anything else. Or you know, it's fancy, it's nice. Rome wasn't built in a day. I found this whole project for the small size only took me about 4 hours from start to finish for doing the 2 panels and then putting it together. Okay, so I'm just looking back. I can see I have 2 stitches left within 2 double crochets left, so that means I still have to picot one more time. The nice thing about this particular one is it's just such an easy concept. So this is the last one, so it's just a regular double crochet, and then I just single crochet into the next chain 4, and then again I start with the double crochet picot, and I want to do this all the way across, and you can see it turned it into a really nice look just like you see here. So now that I have my last picot, double crochet picot in here, I want to single crochet into the last space just like this. Okay, and then we have to chain 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4 and single crochet back into the same space once again. So what we're going to do, this is row number 3. Rows number 4, 5 and 6 are basically the repeat pattern to do the remaining of these picots, and I'm gonna go through it one more time. This is different than the way that we started here for this first time. So we're going to review this next, and I'll take you through the steps one more time for repeating of 4, 5 and 6, and then you can just do it again one more time on your own, and you can do it even more if you want a longer drape on the bottom of your particular cami. On this part of the tutorial you see how we had the mesh, and the mesh is basically how we started doing the picots in the very first place of this whole fans and feathers. So what we need to do is that we need to recreate the mesh once again in order to start these once all over again. And so basically this is what we're going to do. So so row number 4 we're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4, and we're going to double crochet into the single crochet. Okay, so let's double crochet into the single crochet. Just like so. So it's it's the next single crochet that you're running into. Do you see that? And now we're going to chain 4. So 1, 2, 3 and 4, and here's where the fun begins. So we had a total of 7 of these picots. So what we're going to do is that we're going to play within the 2 ones that there's gonna be an empty one in the middle, and then there's one on this side and one on this side. So you skip 2 picots here and we single crochet into the next picot. So just go right into it. It's like a little loop, so you can just grab around it and then chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then just skip the next picot, go to the second one over and single crochet once again, and then chain 4. So 1, 2, 3 and 4, and we're going to single crochet back down here, sorry, double crochet back down into this single crochet that's in between the fans and feathers. Okay, so we're recreating the mesh again. So you have 7 picots and you're only grabbing into the third one here, skipping the middle, going into the next one. And so let's review again one more time. So it's chaining of 4. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. We're looking at the next one. There should be 7. We're gonna skip the first 2, go to the third for a single crochet, chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, go to this, skip the next one, go to another one, a second one over, and then chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're in between the fans and feathers, so it's gonna be double crochet down into the single crochet in between. Please do that all the way across. I'm gonna review one more time. So we're gonna chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, skip to the third one of the picot, single crochet, 1, 2, 3, 4, skip the next picot, go to the second one over for single crochet, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then double crochet into the single crochet in between the fans and feathers. So you're now just recreating the mesh one more time in order to do it. So this is row number 4, which you'll have to repeat again in the next part when you go to start another layer of these picots and fans and feathers. So how you finish this, when you get all the way across, we've just chained our 4. We want to double crochet into the single crochet on the other side of the fans and feathers, and then simply we're just going to chain 4. So 1, 2, 3 and 4, and then we're going to single crochet into this chain 4 space down there. Okay, so we need to have it continue to stay in balance. So you double crochet and then chain 4. Let's go for row number 5, and this is part of the repeat pattern again, so you'll have to repeat this in the future, and we're going to simply just chain 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8, and you want to skip over this first chaining 4 and single crochet into this next one right here. Okay, and what we're going to do is that we're going to start doing this 8 double crochet thing again. It's all a matter of how you got started in order to make that work. So what we're going to do then is just 8 double crochets into the next chain 4 space, and this should fall directly in the middle of where this other fans and feathers are, which it does, so it falls right in between the two. So this is the middle picot that you see. So let me count because I'm losing count. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. And then in the next chain 4 space we want to single crochet. We want to chain 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4, single crochet into this side of the next chain 4 space. And so then the next chain 4 space should be directly in the middle of the next fans and feathers, which it is, and then there's another 8 there, 8 double crochet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. Okay, so let's review again. Get that done. Single crochet into the next chain 4 space, chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, single crochet into the next chain 4 space, and then the next one is your 8 again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's 5, 6, 7 and 8. Continue to do that same patterning all the way across. So single crochet to the next, chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, skip to the next one, and then start your 8 double crochet in the next in the middle of the fans and feathers. So the fans and feathers, the new one, will appear directly right over top of the other. So now coming up to the end of the line, and I want to single crochet, and this time what I want to do, and before I do the final one here, is that we're going to chain 8 this time. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8, and then we're going to put that single crochet into the final one just like so. Okay, so do you see by that it's kind of maintaining that hexagonal look, and that's why we're doing that at this point. So let's begin row number 6, and the number 6 is the final repeat before we have to start this all over once again. So row number 6 is basically the picots again. It's the double crochet picots. So let's begin to start first. So we're going to start off by chaining 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4, and we're going to single crochet into the same chain 8 space. And now we're going to start the fans and feathers, or the double crochet picots. To do that again, remember it's just coming into the first one, and we're just going to put in a double crochet like so, chain 3, 1, 2, 3 and do a picot. And we want to do that for how many times? Do you remember? It was 7. So we want to do the first 7 of the 8 in the picots. So now that we've gotten this far here, you realize why we only did 7 and not 8, because we have to end up recreating that mesh, and 8 makes it a number that is not divisible to recreate that mesh, so it has to only be 7 picots. So it kind of makes sense when I saw it, when I was thinking about it in the very beginning, when I was questioning it, but then I end up just putting some faith into the pattern, and then I realized why it's asking for that afterward in order to keep the balance of the particular pattern. It's not easy to design these kind of patterns, so I give the designers a lot of credit for that. Okay, so I'm looking down, I have 2 more stitches left, so therefore I only have 1 picot. And then double crochet into the final one of the 8. Okay, and all we're just gonna do then is single crochet back into this next one here, just like that, and then we're going to start off again with doing a double crochet picot. So continue to do that all the way across. You're going to repeat rows 4 through 6 one more time after this if you want to maintain the pattern, but if you want to make it a lot longer, by all means just keep repeating 4, 5 and 6. Just remember that it does take more yarn if you're improvising in that fashion, but again, it's only an idea, it's a recipe, it's a pattern, so you can be able to alter anything that you wish, or to customize it for your own personal wishes. So please do double crochet picot concept all the way across, and then just make sure you put in your single crochets in to keep the meshing looking the same. When you get to the end of the line of row number 6, you're going to single crochet into the last space, chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then single crochet back into that same chain 8 space, just like you see here. So basically you're ready now to repeat this pattern once again in order to do the final picot of rows 4, 5, and 6. Again, the creativity is up to you. So let me turn it upside down at this point and show you what it looks like. You will notice that there is a good side and a right side to this. I would say that this would be you'll notice that the picots kind of pop out one direction. So see how it's kind of coming toward me just like so. I prefer that on the outside, so I would classify this as the inside of the, or the wrong side. So just be conscientious of that when you're going to put your panels together, when you're going to do the whip stitching. So let's continue to go through this pattern. So I'm gonna fasten off at this point because I've shown you how to do the picots. You can do it one more time and then we'll carry on. So let me show you how to do the straps next. So the next step in this whole process is that you have to do 2 of these panels. So you're gonna do it from all the way from the mesh, get that top piece done, and then you're gonna do your picots and fans and feathers down at the base here, and you're gonna get both of these layers. And basically it's just a rectangle. There's no shaping like the hourglass or anything, because it does it on your particular body. So what we're going to do next is that what you have to do is that you have to put the wrong sides together. I just explained to you that it looks like there is a good side and a bad side. I would say that this would be the wrong side. So what you want to do is you want to put the 2 wrong sides on the outside of it. So make sure that the inside, or sorry, the right side are facing each other when you're doing a sandwich after you get both of them done. And let me just turn this one inside out, so like so. So here's what we've done on the inside, and we've just done a quick whip stitch across, joining the actual panels together. And we use the same color yarn so that you can barely see it, and we stop, we don't go all the way down, we stop right when the fans and feathers begin, so it creates a nice airy look. And then basically this is the inside of it, so then you're gonna turn it back. Once you get both sides done, you'll turn it back the other way so that you're looking at the good sides. And basically on the good side, then when you're looking at it, when somebody's looking at you, you can kind of see that it's been attached, but it's not in your face, and it looks amazing. As a recommendation in the pattern, it says to call for just to whip stitch a few pieces together, or a few sections up here, and then just use a laced ribbon kind of to attach the rest of it. You can do that if you want to. I just want to whip stitch it together, so you just kind of sandwich together and just go in and out of the stitches in order to bring it together. So now we have to do the straps. So what I did is I put it on my dummy first, or you can even try it on yourself, and it has a recommendation for the amount of straps required. So I think, what was it, I think it's almost 30. Let me just check with that, and I'll be right back in just a moment. Okay, so for the straps, all you need to do is that you just need to start off with putting the yarn. So you just want to just like join on the yarn. So let me just do a fake one here. So I'm just gonna just start off with a slip knot, and I want to come back into where this is on the panel, so we can see this is the raised one up right there. Okay, even though the strap is already there, when you just go look across, it's the only one that's gonna be open, and then you just look across to the other side and you can see that the other side's the same way. So you're just gonna attach your yarn to the actual gap space like so, and according to the instructions for the small size, it was chaining at 35. So I would just like continue to chain. So that was 1, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, 9, and 10. You're gonna go all the way to 35 if it's small, 35 if it's medium, 41 if it's another size. And again, you can adjust these sizes if you're a different shape as well. Once you get to the other side, you're just going to go around, so just loop it around the other one on the back side of the panel. So okay, so this is the front panel, go on the back and just single crochet it into position. And all you're just gonna do is that you're gonna come across this chain and just single crochet yourself back all the way across the chain, all the way back to the other side. When you go to attach your strap, according to the directions, you should attach it to the back side. So attach it to the back panel, and then when you come around just to do this attaching on the front, it'll look nice and clean for you as well. So basically the stop and start of this particular strand will be on the back side or the back panel behind you. So it's you know, put that stuff behind you. So you're just gonna come and single crochet all the way across like so. On my particular metallic one, what I did is that I knew that there was 35, so what I just did is that I just went around a chain space and I just kind of just did 35 around the actual chain space itself, and instead of doing it like this, again, that creativity is up to you. Once you get all the way back to where you started, you're just gonna slip stitch, fasten off, and that would be how you would do that. So that's just how you do the entire panel. I just did a small version just like you can see here, and it actually works out pretty cool at the same time. So I guess this is where I leave you. You can now do this project. You have enough information so that you can do the base, you can do the mesh, you can do the top edging, you can do the straps, and overall it's an amazing project. I think this is a really cool idea. Until next time, I'm Mikey on behalf of the Crochet Crowd as well as yarnspirations.com. Until next time, for more free patterns, we'll see ya. Bye bye.